Hello and marhaba, my friends. How are you, my loves? I've missed you. Welcome to my channel. This is See Like Sheba. I'm Sheba. I'm just like brilliant and beautiful and royal and divine. And yeah, I think you're here to see like me. Um, hey, how you doing? So yeah, this is I am currently in this like challenge where I wanted to do 111 days of living in devotion to my joy. And so this is technically day, I think 12. Um, but because the challenge is to live in devotion to my joy, day 10 and 11, I was just deep in living in my joy. So I didn't feel called to come on, but I was like, let me just take some notes on. Oh, sorry, I just drank some bubbly water, so got some hiccups. Anyway, I was like, let me just take some notes on what my day was and what joy taught me on each of those days, and then I can just post a video about it because this is all made up, as I say at the end of every video. So this challenge that I've given myself is literally for me, and it's here to serve me. And hopefully it can help other people by looking at it, but primarily, first and foremost, it's for me. So love it. And honestly, oh my God, I think it's been going really well. I feel like, you remember, was it just last week? I had like 77 people, 77 subscribers. Now we have 87 subscribers, my love. Oh my gosh. We're getting like a new subscriber a day. I know that like number is going to increase. The volume is going to increase. So we're going to be welcoming a lot of new people to the tribe, to the collective. And I can't wait because I know you guys are probably just as awesome as me in your own different ways. So I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate every like, view, follow, share, comments. And yeah, oh my gosh, so glad you guys can join me. Okay, so I titled this one, Challenge the Spaces You're In. This is actually one Billy wanted me to talk about earlier, and then kind of the perfect real life thing came up, so I'm totally going to do that now. I'm going to connect the dots for you. Okay, so on, what was this, Friday, me and Billy were invited out to a cool little, a DJ was playing, and there was a bunch of cool, beautiful, like kind of queer looking Black people at this, yeah, like beautiful place overlooking the water. And yeah, so we were hanging out with a friend. It was so fun. We were having a great time. After the DJ was done, alhamdulillah, yes. By the way, also I had another Arabic lesson, and my teacher is just like really proud of me. I'm like, I pick up things so quickly. Actually, tomorrow I'm going to be going to DC. I'm going to get my hair done for the first time in like 5 months. And then we're going to this restaurant called La Shukran, which means no thank you in Arabic. And apparently it's one of the best new restaurants in the country. And it's by this Palestinian American. I think it's like Palestinian and French food combined. So really excited about that. Yeah. So hi everyone. Thank you for joining. Good to see you. Okay. Anyway, we're at this cool thing. We're having a great time. We're going to go to, another place to dance some more after. And so we get into our friend's car, and she's going to drive us. And a song that comes on, we're listening to music, and Chris Brown comes on, a Chris Brown song. And I never go out. I like kind of am just like very able to curate my own reality and my own experience. So I definitely don't talk to I don't listen to Chris Brown or R. Kelly, or there's probably other people who I'm like, nope, I can't. And I do not separate the art and the artist. Like if you're an artist who's done like a shitty, terrible thing, that disqualifies your art now. So anyway, Chris Brown comes on. And so I ask her, I'm in the back seat and I'm like, could you change that? I can't listen to any Chris Brown. And she, she's like, oh, yeah, of course. And so she changes it. And then she asks, like, did you hear that, like, Rihanna kind of, she didn't exactly say, like, Rihanna did something to provoke him, but maybe she did say something like that. But she was like, Rihanna, played a role in that incident. And I was like, no, there's like never an excuse for someone to beat you in a car, like anywhere, but like, beat you, within an inch of your life. And, she was like, well, I mean, was it in an inch of her life or did she just have a couple of bruises? And I was like, no, there's no excuse for someone to punch you in the face and like beat you, And she was kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's just like, kind of like, she was like, I'm not like, apologize. I'm not like, excusing it. And I'm like, I mean, you kind of are. Or like, I'm not, supporting it. And I was like, you kind of are. And, I was talking about like, not only did he do that, but like when asked about it, he would like throw a chair through a window and yell about it. He has a bunch of other, accusations of sex assault. He can't go into certain countries because of his criminal history of assaulting people. And, I was just like, nothing, he has no incentive to change if he knows he's going to be able to do all that and everyone's still going to like dance to his music and buy his records and engage with him and forgive him and like engage with him even though he hasn't shown any accountability or growth because he doesn't need to. He knows people will still accept him, in his unaccountable, unevolved state. And so, she was like, yeah, okay, that's why I changed it. But like, I still, I'm going to dance to it when, I'm at home. And like, it's fine. I know, like, I'm someone who is going to stand on business. It doesn't matter to me, like, where I am or like who, like, when the thing occurs, when I have the presence of mind to be like, actually, I have to speak on this. Like, that's the right time. That's the right outlet. And so, yeah, the name of this one is Challenge the Spaces You're In, because I'm realized I might be in the more minority on this. With all of this stuff that's been going on, in Palestine and in the entire world where everyone is trying to stop this horrific thing that's going on. At the very beginning, in October 2023, we were hearing about, you can like call your representatives and, donate to, the Red Cross or Doctors Without Borders. And that's kind of, the extent of what we can do. We're kind of powerless beyond that. And like, I immediately was like, well, we at least have to like kind of talk about this more. So I started talking about it with my family, with my, friend group, with my work, at work, I started talking about it. I was like, what's going on? What are like, you guys are all lawyers, who work for the government. What's going on with our government doing this horrific, atrocity and injustice? I feel like lawyers, we would be extra interested in that. And like, everyone was like, they just like clammed up. They like didn't want to talk about it. They were like, they kind of want to do the, well, it's a tough situation, but, and I'm like, but what? Like, I don't know. I just see myself as very powerful. And so like, I don't know. I see people like Chris Brown, they get away with it and don't ever change. They learn that, in fact, that they can use violence and threats of intimidation in order to get ahead. And they know that because they know that everyone else will still invite them to hang out. They'll still want to work with them. They'll still want to, have pleasant engagements with them. And so it's like, okay, why would they change? So similarly, like seeing these Jewish supremacists, just do the most horrific things and, like buy off our Congress and our lawmakers and our, corporations, our bosses, and to make us all like complicit in this, terrible atrocity. Um, and like so many people are just like, nothing you can do. When I first started being like, oh my God, I have to say something at work. I'm around all these white people. I can't just let them ignore this and pretend nothing's happening. Our union rep, she is a white woman, and she was just like, why do you think the workplace is like an appropriate to, for your appropriate place for your activism? And I was like, well, I'm there 40 hours of my working week. I'm surrounded by a bunch of white attorneys, and I assume that, when slavery or the Holocaust or, all of the injustices that have happened in American history were going on, they might have stopped if white people had just chosen to talk about it at work, But instead, they probably did what my union rep was trying to do, which was ignore it and talk about it in your free time if you want to. But if you don't want to, we have no way to make you do it. So it's like this ability to make it look like you care and you're trying and you do stuff in your free time, but you don't really. You're not really willing to stand on it. You're not willing to risk your job to do the right thing. And I'm like, guys, how are we going to like create a world in which like, it's like a world that's different than this terrible one that we've been creating for the past, at least 100 years. How are we going to create that if no one wants to do anything different? Right. So if like, and so the ways you can challenge these spaces by the conversation topics and the depth that you go into, your media choices, what you choose to consume with your mind, your associations, who you choose to associate with, who you choose to make comfortable, who you choose to listen to, and emulate and support. Those are all ways you like challenge, this thing that we're in right now. And so I started to realize as I was like, trying to talk about this with my family, I was trying to, just do anything, and everyone was just clamming up and they were rolling their eyes and they were so annoyed at me. And they're like, oh, you can't get people to talk about things if you don't want to, if they don't want to talk about it. And that's what I didn't realize, but like my family and at work, they were both very clear about like, if people don't want to talk about it, you can't force them to talk about it. Even if it's like a horrific injustice that we should absolutely talk about so that we can speak about it, so that we can end it, right? So they kept saying, my family and, my workplace, they were saying essentially like, you can't force other people to change. You can't force other people to do anything. And so you can only change yourself. You're only in control of really your own behavior. So what that means is when I realize I'm in spaces that do not receive what I have to offer, who are not willing to speak about the things that need to be spoken about, who are just going to clam up, who are going to require me to just go on with their pretend charade where we don't talk about anything serious. If I'm going to be in those spaces, I'm going to have to clam up too. I'm going to have to accept that these people do not want to be changed. These people do not want to engage in the way that I believe they should. And so I've got to change. I've got to change the environment. This is not the place for me. Like the Social Security Administration is a place for cowardly, insecure, vain, not smart people. And so what am I doing? What am I telling the universe if I stay there? I'm a brave person. I'm a generous person. I'm a compassionate person. What am I doing working at the Social Security Administration? making the same choices as people who don't have spines. People who, yeah, everything's bad, but nothing I can do except keep taking the money. Like, okay, this is not the place for me. And so, you know, with work, it's pretty easy to be like, I hated the job anyway. It's, you know, making me compromise my morals. It's making me dim my light. Let me get out of here. It's blocking my blessings. It was a little bit harder to do that with my family because I think my family, you know, in our families, we like kind of are just taught we have to like accept them, even if like they're racist or, you know, not saying this is my family necessarily, but even if they're racist or toxic or enabling, if they are unwilling to challenge these spaces, if they were into Chris Brown, I would just have to accept it and hang out and like, no, I don't want to do that. And so my family's kind of like surprised that rather than like, you know, accept and continue to want to hang out with and be around people who are not willing to be challenged on Palestine or on, you know, just empire and this new, you know, world that we're all creating. They want me to just like make myself smaller in order to fit in and hang out with them. But I'm like, no, I have to change the environments. If you don't want to be changed, I gotta go. I'm a catalyst. Just by my being, people change. And if you don't want to change, okay, you're not my people. And I know I have to go. This is not the environment for me. Yeah. Yeah, change yourself. Move on if you can't get others to change. Okay, so another thing. Okay, I've been analyzing my portal nails. Just love them so freaking much. They're so beautiful. And, you know, we're taught that like what we had, what we grew up knowing, what we've been doing is the only pathway, portal, door available to you. And so you kind of have to keep doing it. That's what a lot of people are kind of operating on, that assumption, even if they don't fully realize it. But yeah, we're taught to think like, you know, the idea of like imagining a future. Well, what could we do? And people are quick to be like, well, when has that ever worked before? Point to me an example of when that's worked. Like as if the only way forward is through a door that we've already come through. The one door that we've already come through. When actually like everything is a portal. If you know how to look, if you know how to align with it. Okay, so I've been hearing like, bear with me. Okay, about the portals, you know, my friend was talking about how I'm like the portaler, the portal master. I heard after that, I'm a divine gatekeeper of the celestial realms. Ooh. So portal master, divine gatekeeper of the celestial realms. That is totally what I feel. I am able to align with these other realms that exist to us. I am able to see possibility where other people do not, where we've been taught not to. And like everything is a portal. Everything is a possibility. Lots of things are portals if you allow it to. Mirrors are portals, doorways, relationships, meetings with another person, transportation, being in a car is a portal. It's transporting you to another place. It's an entry to another reality if you allow yourself to think of it that way. Okay. That means like there's so much power then in these things we're thought to just think of as just, oh, it's just a mirror. It's just your car. You're just going to this other place. It's not nothing special, but like, guys, come on. Okay, so not only are all of these things portals, you know, you can create the portal. You can create the portal with your attention, with your imagination, and with choosing yourself. Every time you choose yourself, it opens up a new reality. And every time you imagine something, it's opening up a new reality. And one of humans' many powers, superpowers, is that we're able to bring into this reality things that used to only be in our imagination. We're able to access and create realities that didn't exist before, which is so powerful. Okay, and so also, to kind of tie it back up if I can, it matters how you travel in the portal. It's not just about the destination. It's not just about that the portal gets you to another place. It's about the journey, you know. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So true. That's the thing about portals. It is not just important that it gets you there, like how you get there is important too. So, you know, we were in the car going to this other place. We were in a portal, and the music they wanted to play was Chris Brown. And I'm like, I'm in this portal on my way to this new reality. Why am I clinging to this outdated reality with this like outdated music, you know, with this like outdated, you know, kind of way of passing the time. Like I allow my attention to be on a guy that is, you know, causes a lot of harm and, you know, rejects accountability, and who we as a, you know, collective have kind of enabled him to not be accountable and to like, you know, it's just like more of this rewarding people, but often men who are abusive and, you know, immoral and just willing to take the money. They're kind of willing to do anything. Yeah, so it matters how we travel in the portal. So if I'm, you know, being who I am, all the while I'm still listening to Chris Brown, I'm still listening to R. Kelly, I'm still, you know, engaging with like what's his name? Jerry Seinfeld. I'm still, you know, trying to redeem Bill Cosby. Like, what a poor use of my portal making power. What a poor use of my reality creation power to keep clinging to an expired reality. One that doesn't work anymore. It doesn't, we just know too much about it. It's not the way forward. It's the way back. It's the way to continue what we've done. It's the way to stay stuck. But we're in the business of creating new spaces, challenging the spaces that we're in, not just accepting the old space. We're not just victims who have to accept and submit to what is. We're also gods and active creators of what is. So, yeah. So it matters how you travel in the portal, what you listen to, who you travel with, where you go, and the rules of engagement, like the house rules, like while you're on the train, you know, while you're in the car, you know, how are we going to act? How are we going to engage? And, you know, we're in this new paradigm, this new era where the old rules don't apply. We know the old rules are made up. And these ones are going to be too, the new ones too. But we are just now in control of, you know, the rules of creating it. You know what I'm saying. We're the programmers now. We're not just the consumers of the program. We're creating it. Okay? All right. Ooh, I think Billy's making us some food. I love it. All right. I'm going to go and take a bath. 333 as the time. I love that. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. Well, that's all I want to say for now. I'm going to get on again maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But yeah. Ooh, I just love sharing with you guys. Okay. So bring your forehead in and press it against your screen. I love you. And this is all made up. Okay. And let's keep making it up differently. You see it. You see everything unspooling, unraveling, crumbling. So all you have to do is imagine, hold the vision, of what you want to create. And also, like, I don't know if I need to sum this up, but, you know, after I, like, you know, was like, can you turn off this, you know, Chris Brown? You know, the night went on, like, you know, it was a little awkward for like a second, but then, like, you know, we got to like engage with it like a couple of times over the night as we were at places where, you know, I didn't have control of the music, and they would play Chris Brown and stuff. And so we would be like dancing, and I would be like inadvertently being forced to dance to this thing. So it's like, see, like there are times where you can't always choose what you're consuming. So like when you can, you got to choose. You got to choose wisely. You got to choose yourself. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, love you. This is all made up. All right. So thank you again, my 87 subscribers. I love you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and free Palestine, baby. All right. Salam and yalla bye, babe.